You are standing on the bridge of your ultramodern spaceship. Today your mission is to fly into the unexplored regions of space. You will fly past spectacular nebulae, rotating pulsars, and black holes. Soon you will arrive on a planet where life can exist in the most unusual forms. You shake hands with a strange bug the size of an elephant, and maybe even establish diplomatic relations with him. All this is possible in the future. And now humanity is just trying to penetrate further into space. People first took to the air in 1783, when French engineers built the world's first balloon. He rose above the ground only a third of the height of the Statue of Liberty. In 1903, the Wright brothers made their first flight in a manned airplane. Since then, people have been climbing higher and higher. Now modern airplanes can climb to a height of up to 13 kilometers. It's like 34 Empire State Buildings stacked on top of each other. In 1931, people finally reached the stratosphere. A Swiss physicist and his assistant used a balloon to reach a record height of 16 kilometers above the Earth's surface. They were the first people in the world who observed the curvature of the horizon of the planet. After 30 years, the first man flew into space. It was Yuri Gagarin. It took off from Earth and reached low Earth orbit in about 10 minutes. The maximum flight altitude of Gagarin's spacecraft was about 327 kilometers. It's almost like the distance from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. The first cosmonaut flew over the night side of the Earth, then over America and successfully landed 108 minutes later. Currently, flying 400 kilometers into outer space is an easy walk. At this altitude, the International Space Station rotates around the Earth and astronauts from all over the world are constantly on it. In 1969, Apollo 11 set a new record for the range of flight into space. Its crew flew about 384,000 kilometers to the Moon, successfully landed on its surface and spent about 21 hours there. Then the ship returned home. A year later, this distance record was broken by the Apollo 13 mission. The ship made a loop around the Moon and returned to Earth at the farthest point. The astronauts were more than 400,000 kilometers from home. It's like flying around the globe 11 times. So far, this is the longest distance that people have ever traveled in space. But we intend to break this record by flying to Mars. Once every few years, the Earth and Mars line up in such a way that the distance between the planets is only 55 million kilometers. If there was a highway from Earth to Mars, it would take about 62 years to get there by car. The journey on the spaceship will take from 6 to 8 months. When we get there, humanity will become multiplanetary and it will be a new record of space travel. In the meantime, we have to rely on probes to gather the necessary information. For example, the Parker Solar Umbrella was sent from Earth directly to the Sun. To his destination, he covered a distance of 1 astronomical unit. This is about 150 million kilometers. The umbrella has already made several circles around the Sun and Venus, but the gravitational attraction of the Sun is so strong that the speed of the probe now exceeds 530,000 kilometers per hour. This is 13 times faster than the speed of an average rocket. Another Voyager 1 probe bears the title of the farthest object that was created by humans. The probe, weighing the size of a large motorcycle, was launched in 1977. After a year of flight, it reached the asteroid belt beyond the orbit of Mars and headed for Jupiter. The probe took several pictures of the gas giant and flew to Saturn. After visiting all these planets, Voyager 1 headed into interstellar space, planning to leave the solar system. By 2004, the probe had covered about 94 distances from Earth to the Sun. It is in those parts that the boundary of the solar system, the so-called heliosphere, lies. Here, the solar wind slows down, becomes slower than the speed of sound, and this creates a shock wave that almost tore Voyager 1 apart. But fortunately the probe survived and continued on its way. In 2012, it finally left our solar system and is now heading towards the star Gliese 455. It is assumed that he will reach it in 40,000 years. Voyager 1 has a twin brother, Voyager 2. And although the second probe was launched earlier, it left the solar system 6 years later. In 300 years, Voyager 2 will reach the inner edge of the Oort cloud. This is a cluster of small asteroids and cosmic bodies near our solar system. In 40,000 years, Voyager 2 will pass by the red dwarf Ros 248, and in about 300,000 years, the probe should approach Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky. Perhaps the voyagers will be able to establish contact with another civilization and transmit the message they carry on their golden discs. The discs contain greetings in 55 languages and music from different cultures and countries. They also record the sounds of the ocean, the singing of birds, the sounds of insects and animals, and they also record 116 images that will help other civilizations understand the composition of the Earth's atmosphere and the structure of human DNA. Some images are just landscapes of our planet, deserts, mountains, islands, and rivers. In any case, to make humans a multiplanetary species, we need to go to Mars. It will take less than a year. But if humans decided to become an interstellar species, we would have to go to Proxima Centauri, the closest star to our Sun. The light from this red dwarf reaches the Earth in a little less than 4 years. If we use the good old rocket engines, it would take us about 73,000 years to make this journey. The key to long-distance travel is speed. People will have to abandon traditional rocket engines and come up with something new. Some scientists believe that before the end of this century we will be able to reach Proxima Centauri. To do this, you will have to create a microprobe that will be smaller than the nail. It will be launched into space and a powerful laser beam from Earth will push the probe forward, accelerating it to 20% of the speed of light. In this case, it will take about 20 years for the probe to fly to the nearest star. After its arrival, the radio waves with the probe's signal will reach Earth with a delay of 4 years. And if we could travel at the speed of light, how far would we get? Here is the Milky Way. It would take over 100,000 years to get from one side of the spiral to the other. And if you bought a ticket to the Andromeda Galaxy, the journey would take 2.5 million years. About 100 million years of traveling at the speed of light and you will leave the Virgo supercluster. All the little dots that you see are actually huge galaxies containing billions of stars. A billion years on the road and you will find yourself in neighboring superclusters of galaxies. So now these points are superclusters with billions of galaxies. 14 billion years of travel and you will reach the edge of the observable universe. This is the maximum distance that terrestrial telescopes can cover. There are about 2 trillion galaxies within these boundaries. In every galaxy there may be stars similar to our Sun. Around each star there is a habitable zone, a favorable place where water can exist in liquid form, which gives a chance for life to appear there. People would like to find this life and establish contact with it, but there is an obstacle, a journey of billions of years. There are theories that people can travel billions of light years using wormholes. Imagine that spacetime is a piece of paper and on one side is our galaxy, the Milky Way, and on the other, some unknown galaxy. A straight path would take billions of years, but if you fold the paper in half, these two worlds will be next to each other. And it will be possible to get from one to the other through some kind of wormhole hole. It distorts spacetime and it can allow humans to become a multigalactic species. Some scientists believe that wormholes may be inside black holes. These are the most mysterious and massive objects in the universe. They are so heavy that they can distort the very fabric of spacetime. 1 minute near a black hole can be a week or a month on Earth. Perhaps if a spaceship could withstand such terrible gravity and get into the heart of a black hole, it would jump out from the other side of the wormhole in another part of our galaxy or beyond, or even in a parallel universe. The closest black hole to Earth is 1,500 light-years away. It's called a unicorn and weighs about as much as 3 of our suns. It's just tiny compared to other black holes. After all, some of them may be 6.5 billion times more massive than our sun.